Hi, back again. So I made this a tiny little bit bigger, perhaps I'll make it a little more even. But it's good to make holes not too big because you can always make them bigger. You can also make them smaller with wax and tape and things, but actually it's good, it's easier to make them bigger than to make them smaller. And actually you don't need a piano, you can just tune them to your ear or to any instrument or to your liking. And I was only interested in the, or I could use a tuning machine to the actual pitch that I don't get in between two pitches, because I sometimes play with other instruments and then it can be difficult to have an instrument somewhere in between something. So now I'll guess. Normally you can tune it for one octave, and it's not necessarily tuned the same as well for the higher octave. Then I'll tune the low octave and try to get the high octave by blowing technique and fingering things and stuff like that, because they are not always both the same. So now for the next hole you could think, okay, it was a whole step this distance and I want da 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 another whole step, then it's the same distance. Then I could actually calculate the holes before. People always think you calculate them. It's very easy with a string to calculate frets or positions like that, but with holes it's quite different, because they have a position and a diameter. And for example, if this hole is quite small, I could make a hole next to it, not even further here, the same as big, and it could make a note higher, though it wouldn't be any further to this direction, but it would make the note higher just because it would make the opening bigger. Actually, sometimes you have these double holes on some flutes. So this is a really kind of strange thing. Also, if I want a hole similar big than this, because this is quite good to close still and not too small, it's actually quite good, and I want to find the position to make it the same big. It's really hard to guess, because this ending is bigger than this. This makes this distance bigger, so the next one should be not the same as far, I guess somewhere here, but and also I don't want it to be too far away, but sometimes I use this finger and then not the next, but for this bigger flute, but I leave one out, and then I can reach further away. I'll just guess. Otherwise I'll make it a minor hole, but I want B major, B flat major, da da da. I guess it's somewhere here. But yeah, that's really not an easy thing. That's also why they make a tuning hole here on the side and then the other holes, because as the tuning hole is a similar width, once you got one hole right, the next will be a similar distance, which is not the case here because the end hole is bigger than this hole. So that's the flute secrets. I can also, it doesn't really, they don't all have to be in one line like this, they can be a little, that's what I did here. I moved them around a little It's because it's more comfortable for my fingers. It's actually made for my hand, as you see. It's very natural to me to get this fingering like this, and also for this hand it's kind of where my fingers would land if I just put them like traditional. They're usually in a row, more like this, but that doesn't change the sound. So you could actually put the next hole a little further around here if you wanted to. Only if you play it the other way around sometimes, or someone perhaps, then I wouldn't do that. But I also made this hole for playing like this. On the other, I didn't really care for this edge because it still works, but I didn't plan to make it for that. So I just guess the next hole. Little guessing again. Okay, I'll put it here. What I do here, I have to do this from both sides, because otherwise it will split on, because of the directions of the material. Now I'll drill again. Have to be careful not to slip to my hand. That's why I make this first. And this time I'll be kind of more careful. And try it now already. Minor. But I think I can make it major, and that's what I wanted, because I didn't want a B flat minor flute. I can already tell that it's perhaps in a good position, or at least not very wrong. Try it again. Still minor, very clear minor actually. Though it's more in the higher octave, the lower one, it's already too high for traditional minor. It's already something kind of Turkish. No, it's not, because the step before is not right for that. So I'm making it bigger. Sometimes if I think the hole is actually too far this way, because I think, oh, I have to make it really big to get it major, I actually make it bigger to this direction. I might actually now, because I could argument that it's good that they are close together because of the reaching, but then it would have been better to get this higher, because I still have to get further here with my hand. And as I often leave this finger out for long flutes, I can actually reach further. I could also like this, but it's not comfortable. I will do it like this. Then it's no problem to get it a little higher up if I want to. For the holes, one thing is that it's important to be able to close them, so I make them kind of finger friendly, Another thing is I do sometimes make them a little, when I carve them, I make them a little not cylindric but conical to the inside, that they open up to the inside of the thing, because it seems to improve the sound. If you think in streaming air, it's quite logic that it's easier to go around if there's not a right angle, but something like this. Actually it's not streaming, but it's vibrations that go through. That's something different again, but still it seems to help the vibration and improve the sound and how easy you get the notes. So I'll do a little but it's not a great difference, it's just a detail. Try it again. Oh, it's majorish. It's getting better. Now it actually depends on tuning systems, because if I would want to make this in a historic tuning, like for mean tone tuning, it might be already almost quarter tone, mean tone. But like the pianos are tuned nowadays, normally it needs to be higher. I always have to be careful because I always correct them with my way of blowing. But actually it's too low. Actually, I think I've shown the main things, and I will build this on, but I don't think I will do the whole thing. I'll just tell you a few more things. Of course, you can make any scale. You can make it minor or Phrygian, and you can also, if you make a hole and you see it's not in a good position, you can make a different scale by it. And if it's too high, then you can make another hole before it, but normally it's good to start from the low notes to the higher ones. Actually, they do change the lower notes a little bit, but it's usually so little that it doesn't really matter. If it matters, they normally get too low by making notes here. The lower ones get too low, so you can always make them bigger still, if they're not too big already. Easier than to make them smaller. And actually, to make a really good flute, you need to make a few. Normally, actually at least 2 out of the same diameter and same length. And then you can make one, and then from that you have an idea about the positions. And you can also see, oh, this hole is really big. I had to make it big to make the note high enough, so it was actually too low, so it was too far here. So you put it a little more there on the next flute. You can get, with the things I told you, you can get quite good flutes just on the first time also. The only thing which is hard to get is if you want this Gabelgriffe, I don't know what they are called in English. Sometimes there are these fingerings where you have one hole open, then another one closed to get a half step. And those, you can't get those by guessing the position, and then that's actually another topic, but to talk about. So for half steps, if you want a chromatic instrument, it's anyway kind of difficult. It's the Indisch people do it that way. They just use half holes if they want to have half steps. If the holes are not too small, that's kind of a way. It's not very easy. But so, are there any other things you should know? Yes, perhaps because I have to move, it's too hot here in the sun. And I'll just show you one more thing. If you've got a few holes already, more than I have now, and for example you had only these 3 holes, then you could overblow. And if you overblow further, if you get that, it's a 5th. So you don't need all the holes. You can already blow with just the holes of this hand, just 3 holes. Whole scale, whole octave. I can also play these, but if I overblow here, there's something missing. That's why you need the other holes. But if you play high enough on a low flute, you just need 3 holes. So you could build a one-hand flute with just 3 holes actually, and you can already play pieces in before it's finished. Now I'm on this flute, I have just one, I need one more to get there, or I have to play pentatonic. Don't get this, no, it's almost a song. Don't get the rest, unfortunately. Perhaps there is a song, let me think. No, I don't know any song that works with those. Almost. So this is it for now. I'll put up more things like that soon. Goodbye.